Does anyone know how teams will respond to the Denver Nuggets this offseason? It seems widely accepted that their winning another championship is inevitable. However, some young teams are looking to make their way up the standings and challenge that idea next year. In this video, we will discuss 3 key teams that should be looking to make trades this offseason and improve the future of their franchises. For instance, the Orlando Magic have just sped up their timeline by failing just short of advancing to the second round of this year's playoffs. In their losses to the Magic, you could see 2 glaring weaknesses in their roster construction: reliable shooting and playmaking outside of Paolo. Although he's their clear star player, they can't have Banchero responsible for every single possession. According to Cleaning the Glass, Paolo ranks in the 99th percentile for player usage rate, followed by a 25% assist percentage. This means Paolo assisted on a quarter of his teammates' made shots. He's in the 96th percentile for that as a sophomore power forward. So, for the Magic's blockbuster trade, they go out and snatch DeJounte Murray from Atlanta. Murray can leave the mess that is the Hawks right now and return to being a team's clear #1 guard. In games without Trae Young, DeJounte averaged 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. He could further unlock Orlando's offense by hitting a cutting Franz or an alley-oop to Paolo. With a 6'9" wingspan, he fits the mold of the Magic's desire for lengthy defenders. Although his defense in Atlanta hasn't been great, I think he could lock in with a fresh start and a fun, exciting culture. So how could they get him? All reports point to Atlanta wanting to break up their backcourt between Young and Murray. And Young being the franchise guy, you can assume they're much more ready to deal with DeJounte. So could Orlando get him in exchange for Jet Howard, plus draft compensation for future moves? The rookie sharpshooter averaged 19 points in the G League and 37% from 3 on over 9 attempts a game. At 6'6", he could grow into the exact type of catch-and-shoot defending guard next to Trae Young. Atlanta gave San Antonio 3 firsts plus a swap, so if they could get something similar, Orlando might be able to get it done. But if they can't get as big a name as Murray, they should be on the phone with the Washington Wizards asking for Tyus Jones. At 27 years old, Tyus is a reliable 12 points and 7 assists in DC, along with 40% from beyond the arc. The real question is, if he can manage to rack up 7 assists a night on the worst team in basketball, what could he do with this Orlando squad? I think sending someone like Fultz and some draft capital could get this job done. One job that has practically already been done is Sam Presti's with the OKC Thunder. This team looks dominant in the postseason as the #1 seed. They have their MVP-level player in Shea, a 2-force with Chet, and an elite third option with Jalen Williams. The second youngest team in basketball is possibly headed to the finals this year with their treasure trove of draft picks as a backup plan this offseason if they fall short. That being said, Sam Presti needs to take his swing regardless, and trade for Lauri Markkanen this offseason. Some may think the more straightforward choice should be getting a traditional big. But I say lean into this team identity, where everyone is a long, high IQ ball handler. And Lauri checks all those boxes while creating one of the most dynamic front courts in the league next to Chet. The only advanced offensive shooting numbers weak in the Thunder's starting 5 is around the mid-range. They rank in the middle of the pack for those shots per 100 possessions. Markkanen could help with his 3-level scoring ability. He ranks in the 66th percentile for mid-range per 100 possessions, along with 76 around the rim and 79 beyond the arc. If he gets inserted into that starting 5, I don't know if any team could stop them from scoring. Although the Utah Jazz seem to love Lauri, he shouldn't be untouchable to a rebuilding team. I think throwing the draft chest at Danny Ainge alone could make this happen. But if they want to keep some of those picks for another move, we can all agree the latest odd man out in OKC is Josh Giddey. He overlaps with a ton of Shea's skills, and a team like the Jazz could use a playmaker of his caliber. Sadly, another young team in the league is on the opposite side of the Western Conference standings. The San Antonio Spurs stink. Victor Wembanyama is already a 2-way superstar, but his supporting cast is still on the 3 to 4 years away schedule of competitiveness. I like Vassell and Sochan. Overall, it seems like they need someone to put things in order on the court and be able to get reliable shots. So, San Antonio's chance to fix this roster in the offseason turns into a package deal with the Portland Trail Blazers, focused on Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Grant. The Blazers are also one of the bottom feeders in the West, but their draft pick, Scoot Henderson, has yet to blossom as was predicted. I know it's no superstar, but San Antonio could take advantage of a team that is nowhere near being competitive and snatch away two great veterans. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what Malcolm Brogdon could do for the Spurs. A clear point guard that would know how to get Wemby the ball. Do I need to say any more? Jeremy Grant is where a trade for this pair makes it interesting. Grant started his career being known for his lengthy, tough-nosed defense. But he's showcased a solid offensive toolkit in the past few years. He's turned into a mid-range assassin, falling just outside the top 10% of players in mid-range shot frequency. He is also very capable of extending his range, as he shot 40% this year from three. Starting him at the three next to Sochan and Wemby would give the team an excellent second option to make something happen in the clutch if needed. So, how could they make this happen? Well, the contracts make it a bit tricky. Grant and Brogdon combine for $51 million next year. For the Spurs to pull this off, I think they'd ask Portland to sweeten the pot with some draft capital, and then San Antonio throws in Keldon Johnson along with cap filler Devonte Graham or Zach Collins. The young forward still has upside, but he did get moved to the bench and was a minus 3.2 for an on-off rating. Spurs could bring in Brogdon and Grant, who could help elevate Wembanyama's and the franchise floor. Alright, so did I miss any teams? Oh well, there's the surprising season the Bulls just had with Kobe White and without Zach LaVine. I think the Hornets might have their key guy in Brandon Miller instead of LaMelo Ball. Or, a playoff team that might do something drastic here any day is Phoenix and their big three. All I know for sure is there will be a lot of activity this offseason.